Welcome to Across the Ring. My name is William Mayhem Michaels.
And this is the scientist, Carl Schupfer. And today we are here with Jarrod Jaxx. Welcome to our show.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Doing good, man. Doing good. So, Jared, before we get started, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Well, I'm Jarrod Jaxx. I've been wrestling for about, say, 20 something years, 21 years, give or take a few. I started out, honestly, I can't say backyard because I never really wrestled in a backyard untrained, but I didn't know I was untrained until I started going to indie shows. I started going to Mid-American shows, me and my former tag team partner, Mace Morgan, Chris Morgan, one of my best friends to this day. We started going to independent shows because we wanted to see other wrestling. So we started going to independent shows, and that's the first time we saw CM Punk. Like when he was coming, we saw him, we saw guys like Colt Cabana, Ken Anderson, and then that's when we started looking at each other like, man, we want to we want to be like these guys. So we went to a show one day, we stayed around, and after we actually talked to Punk, and he was very gracious, and he just, pointed us in the right direction. It was like, well, I don't know how to go about getting trained here because I'm from Chicago, but he pointed us direction. The direction the guy was Carmine Desperado. Fast forward a week, we show up to fast forward a month to the next show. We show up the day before, and we're trying to get trained, and all of a sudden there's Colonel Blacknit, or AKA Angel Armani. He's training in the ring with a student, and then we linked up with him, and the rest is history. That's the short version of it.
Well, I think that's pretty unique. I think having someone like CM Punk kind of point you in the right direction is pretty cool. I think a lot of people would have loved that kind of opportunity. So it sounds like then so you got trained kind of getting set in that direction there from your story. What was it like for you training, and who was there other people that you trained with?
Oh yeah, Adrian Serrano was somebody that kind of had a hand in helping me train. Like we would go before the shows at Mid American. Jason Dukes, Steve Stone, Derek St. Holmes, Rashid Brown. I don't want to leave anybody out. Who else? Hardcore Craig, uh, Farmer Vic. Even I used to learn stuff from Scott DeMark, the ref. Scott DeMark was one of the best refs. He used to teach me stuff. Like I learned a lot from Scott DeMark. You can learn a lot from a good ref. And as a rookie, I learned a lot from him. Carmine Despair, of course. My trainer, Angel Armani, Colonel Blackness. There's just so many people that kind of touched and had a little sprinkling on there, and took a little piece of everything they ever taught me, and I try to just use all the things that they ever taught me and try to still, maintain and keep thriving, keep going, keep pushing.
So, at what age were you when you started getting into wrestling? Not quite training, but you started watching it and enjoying it.
I was like 6. I go back all the way to the rock and wrestling days, all the way to the cartoon. That's how when I first got introduced to wrestling, I got introduced to it through the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then the beginning of the cartoon, Hulk Hogan would walk out, it'd be the real Hulk Hogan, and then he'd walk out and through the doors, and then he'd turn into the cartoon.
Yeah.
So I told my mom, I was like, I want to see the real guy. And so she found, I think it was a Saturday night's main event. It was the one where it was right before Wrestlemania II, where I think it was Bundy had jumped him while Morocco was holding his arms and stuff, and Bundy gave him the avalanche from the back, and that was first time I saw wrestling, and I was hooked. And later she ordered me WrestleMania 2, and it was a wrap. I was hooked.
That's a heck of a first show to watch. The Saturday night main event before a WrestleMania. That's a heck of an introduction, that's for sure.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know anybody that had a first show like that, man. That's
that was the first.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the first wrestling show. Like when I saw the actual wrestling, that was the first live one I saw. I saw the whole angle when he got broke up and the whole prelude and the day of WrestleMania. They showed him doing the workout with the ribs taped and the blue spandex with the socks with the little red things around the ankles.
So you said your mom is who got you put on the Saturday Night Main Event, right?
Well, I mean, she probably regrets it now, but I
Now,
hounded her about it. I hounded her about it. Yeah, I hounded her about because she didn't know what the heck I was talking about until she came and saw what I was watching. And she was like, "Oh, okay, I get it. You want to watch wrestling, not just the cartoon." And then
Mhm.
she
the
looked at the cable guide when it came on, and then plopped me down in front of the TV. Like, "Here, there you go. Watch it. Leave me alone."
so what did she think then when you started becoming a wrestler yourself?
Honestly, she wasn't too thrilled. I mean, she just didn't want me to get hurt. She was more concerned about me getting hurt. So she wasn't too thrilled that that's what I wanted to do and get into it. I mean, she's gotten used to it now, but at first, nah, she wasn't too thrilled about it. I mean, she wasn't dead set against it, but she wasn't like thrilled about it. She was
That
concerned
makes
about my.
sense, moms often are pretty worried about their boy, and don't want them to be hurt and all that. So I can see, a mom tends to be a bit of a worrier. I know my mom is.
Yeah, she wasn't too thrilled at first. She was like,
Yeah.
"Well, he's watching, and now you want to do it." And I wasn't the biggest guy, still not the biggest guy, so she was like, concerned that I'd get hurt. I
So
play football, so I was used to physicality.
right. So with your mom not being too thrilled about it, who was some of your biggest supporters when you did get started in wrestling?
My younger brother, he
Yeah.
thought it was cool. He was all for it. He was cool with it. My younger brother, he was
That's
all for it.
awesome.
Was he a little brother like me where he was like, yeah, my brother does this, my brother does that. Look, watch. That type of thing.
Sometimes, but then I know
Yeah.
sometimes he got annoyed because I think I made him watch Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man probably more than he wanted to. I monopolized the TV and my VHS. He'd come in from outside like, "This again? You watching this again, bro?" I was hooked. Yeah.
That sounds about right. I've got a similar one like that. My grandma had the tape for Royal Rumble 1990, and so I've probably seen that show 1,000 times just because it's like my comfort show. I'll put that one on and relax in bed or something.
Yeah. WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 17 and 18 are my like comfort
Those
shows.
those are some good ones, that's for sure.
Yeah. I
Honorable mention
remember
14 too for the rise of Austin.
I remember
Uh,
my grandpa used to record the old ones too, man. It was on like these old tapes, but you knew they were wrestling because the tapes were always like bright blue, bright pink, or bright yellow. It wasn't like the normal black tapes. So if it was blue, yellow, or pink VHSs, that meant it was wrestling.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, so you got in and you started wrestling and training, and so who were some of your biggest influences into like the wrestler that you became, like in terms of like who you would like pull from like wrestling?
oh, so many, so many. Great Muda off the top. There's a little Bret Hart in there. There's some Lance Storm in there. There's some Booker T in there. There's some Arn Anderson in there. There's a little bit of. I got a whole plethora of guys and people like a little bit of Tully Blanchard, a little,
Mhm.
I can name there's some Jericho, little bit of Jericho dashed in there. It's like I've pulled from so many different people because I've like found like watched so much wrestling and then found somebody and then start liking some of the stuff they've done. Like Arn Anderson is somebody I feel like does not get enough credit in this business.
Hell
Like
yeah.
Arn Anderson is an unsung hero. Arn Anderson probably to me is like the most underrated person that, like, especially going back now and still watching this stuff today, just the little things he would do, his little nuances. Arn,
Mhm.
man, Arn
It,
deserves the flowers, man. Somebody
right,
give
and
him
he's so influential, but so many people kind of shrug him under the rug. But he's still busy today, in the wrestling business, and I think that speaks volumes when you're that old and people are still coming to you about what should I do here, what should I do there, and still having that backstage presence. I feel that is very important. Like you, I was a Booker T fan. Back in the WCW days, man, when they finally decided to push Booker and push Billy Kidman, which Billy Kidman, in my opinion, is another one of those very underrated guys as well. But
yeah, Billy Kidman was one of those first smaller guys that was really, really kind of made an impact because
mhm,
like it was, it was the age of the Giants. He was the first guy. He's the first guy I saw do a shooting star press. So he
me
made his
too.
impact. Billy Kidman, like a lot of people forget when he first came out, he was like guys weren't that size. Like he was
Hmm. He was tiny when
really,
he first started.
he wasn't the biggest guy. He was like
Yeah,
I think he was like WCW's version of the 1-2-3 Kid. Honestly, I think that's what they were trying to do with Billy Kid. That's what it seemed like they were trying to
yeah,
make him.
So, you've I think between the influences you've talked about, and then also kind of, the way you got into wrestling and the way you got into training, there's a lot of tag teams kind of mentioned there between, kind of going up with your buddy and tagging, and then also, different tag wrestlers that you seem to pull from. Uh, who are some of the people that you really enjoyed to tag with over the years?
Well, first my boy Mace Morgan, Chris Morgan, like that was my first tag team partner. Like we like UAT, we had a couple of different incarnations, but the Urban Assault team was our most prominent incarnation of us teaming. So that was a lot of fun. We got to wrestle Demolition together. So that was something that we still talk about that to this day. Every once in a while, we'll go back like, "Oh, man, that's how you wrestle Demolition." Like, yeah. So that was a good experience. I think we wrestled Greg the Hammer Valentine together. We wrestled Marty Jannetty together. We wrestled a lot of, we wrestled a lot of people together. So that was a fun team. I like teaming with Justin Dredd, who is part of the Perfect Tens. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Uh, as well as I like teaming with Porn Stash too. He's fun to team with. Marman, of course, he's who I teaming with now. I've teamed with Marman so many times. I've teamed with GQ. He's fun to team with. I've teamed with T Dub before. He was fun to team with. I've teamed with a lot of guys and had a lot of successful tag teams. And just, I guess I would be this area's Arn Anderson. I guess when it comes to
Here
tag
we
teams,
go. That's what it sounds like.
so many
Yeah.
different
yeah, that's what
guys.
I'm thinking. I'm like, man, I think it'd have been a shorter list of who hasn't he tagged.
I'm
Yeah, no
tagged with a
kidding.
lot of dudes. Like I'm sure I'm missing a couple. I'm sure I don't want to mean to offend anybody if I missed you. You was my tag team partner. I'm sure I'm missing a couple because I've had a lot of tag team partners. Oh, J Cash, duh. Like I teamed with J Cash. I forgot he was one of my early partners. So Loud and Pain. He was another one that's going way, way, way back. I've had a lot of tag team partners. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
Tag.
awesome. I think I've seen you in quite a few tag matches, throughout different promotions, and I've always enjoyed them. I think that I think you're a lot of fun to watch, and I think that you're someone that's really good at like pulling reactions out of people in the crowd, and it just takes the match to another level.
Well, I thrive on that. Like somebody told me it was another wrestler that told me that watching me is like an experience, and I'm glad, and that's what I want to provide. I want to provide an experience, not just like I want you when you come watch a Jarrod Jaxx match. It's like I want you to feel like you felt like when you leave the theater when you watch that good blockbuster movie. You know what I'm saying? I want
Mhm.
you to have that same feeling when you watch me wrestle. Like that's what I want to provide for anybody, whether you like me that night or you cheer for me that night or boo for me if you want to I'm playing the role of the villain, I want to be that good villain that, you know, people kind of want to see win at the end. If I'm being the good guy, I want to come be that underdog good guy that, you know, gets kicked and kicked but won't stay down. You know, like either or. Like I'm just looking to provide an experience, like similar to like that. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. So, speaking of blockbusters, what are some of your hobbies you have? What do you enjoy outside of wrestling?
I like to go shoot darts when I can. I love just going to a good movie. You know, that's like I was talking about. I love movies. You know, Mario calls me the king of all obscure movies that nobody's seen. That's Mario's name for me. I'm the king of all obscure movies nobody's seen. Uh, like when I do get a chance, I do like to go to the gun range. Like some people are kind of about that, but for me, that's personally, I feel like, hey, it's a good stress relief for me, and I'm doing it in a
Yeah.
safe environment. I'm not going out nowhere. I'm going to a gun range. You know,
Right, right. Well,
safety
me and
goggles and
Carl
everything.
both gun people. I mean, we don't go out and like look at my gun, but
Yeah, yeah. I
we
keep
go to the
on.
range.
Yeah.
We hunt a
Yeah.
little bit and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I've never been a hunter. I've always wanted to try hunting, but see, my problem with hunting is I hate being cold, man. I hate
Yeah.
being cold, man. I can't be out no. Man,
uh
I hate it. I
brother,
hate
you in the
like
wrong state to be cold, man.
I mean, like outside purposely being cold, just outside, just hunting,
Yeah.
just waiting. Like I can't do it. Like if I gotta deal with the cold, I can deal with it. But just being outside
uh,
purposely, just stalking some prey
he
out in the
said,
cold, just man,
No
I don't
way.
know, man.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, as someone that does hunt, I'd say that 90% of hunting is just
it's
sitting there
cold.
cold, waiting for something to
That's
show
what I'm
Yeah.
up.
saying. I don't know
Yeah.
if man, I don't
That's
know, man. I'll try it just to do it,
that's
but man, I don't know, man. I don't know
that's
if
why
I'm
you
cut
guys need
out.
to come down to Arizona and go hunting where I'm at. Then you'd be all right. Then you just be
Hey,
a little
yeah,
too
hunt some
hot.
geese or something, some nice weather or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
why I moved from the Midwest, man. I can't do that cold either, brother. The true story is, here's what happened. I lived in Ohio. I left. It was in February. It was negative 17 degrees. Landed in Arizona. It said 75 degrees. I looked at my wife and I said, I'm moving to Arizona. And a month later, I was living in Arizona. I wasn't playing around, man.
See, the thing is, it's like I don't like. I could take it up till it gets to about like anything lower than 30 degrees, and it's too cold for me. Like I could
You
take
definitely in the
anything up
wrong
to
state then. 'Cause
30 degrees, and then when it gets lower than 30 degrees, I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to do nothing. I try to stay as still as I can.
that sounds right. That sounds
that's so
right to me.
funny.
That, and I must say, those winters
And
can be
30
brutal.
degrees is
That's
pretty
something else.
cold, man. I
Oh
know we get
yeah.
those
Right.
negative there, but 30 degrees, that's still pretty. That's a pretty. Some people can't even stand
I
30
know, but
degrees.
where you guys are at, that's half your year you ain't trying to move, man. Like you
Hey,
gotta stay
hey,
inside.
hey. It be like
Yeah.
that sometimes.
So, kind of speaking to that too. So, you wrestle a lot in Wisconsin. But what is kind of like the whole area of where you typically can be seen on shows?
Well, I just actually just had a show this past weekend, heavy on wrestling in Minnesota. So I'm looking to try to get out there a little more around the Midwest, and so I got some stuff coming up, and so be looking for Jarrod Jaxx to kind of spread a little bit, throughout more than Wisconsin. Just a little preview, little sneak
Okay.
peek. But mainly, right, for the last couple years, I've been sticking mainly around here. Yeah.
So,
So,
who are some of your favorite opponents to wrestle around the area?
around the area, favorite opponents. Let's see. Ooh, I love wrestling this. He's fun to wrestle. I like wrestling Ben McCoy. He's fun to wrestle. I like wrestling. I like wrestling Joey Avalon. He's fun. Joey Avalon's really fun. Who else I like? I try to have fun with everybody I wrestle. I like I pretty much haven't had like too many opponents where it was just like, 'cause I ain't trying to crap on nobody. I've had some stinkers. Don't get me wrong. I've had my stinkers now. I ain't trying to put nobody, but I like wrestling Mustafa actually because even though he's a big guy for me, he's easy for me because I can just bounce off. Like
Yes,
Mustafa,
yes.
so for me, Mustafa's one of the easiest people for me to wrestle. Like I can wrestle Mustafa. Like it's so easy for me to wrestle Mustafa.
It's like
Like
looks like a David and Goliath kind of thing going
yeah,
on there.
but even if even if he's not the big nasty giant, even if I'm the sneaky bad guy, we could do some creative stuff because I've done stuff to where we've been in a situation where he's been the face and I've been the heel, even though it's been this big side, but we've still been able to make it work because like it's just like uh trying to think. Trying to think. I like wrestling Devlin Kane. He's actually a guy I've wrestled a lot. Let me see who else. Kyle Roberts, I like him. He was fun. I don't want to forget anybody. You guys are putting me on the spot.
That's true. That's
So
true.
many people.
Look,
So many
we
years I've
can't
wrestled.
name everybody. You said you've wrestled for 20 years. If you named everybody you
Yeah,
ever wrestled
like
with, we'd be here for hours.
Be here for the whole podcast.
I don't want to make anybody feel bad if I forget them and stuff. And like,
Um,
I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, and they gonna be like, "Dude, how the hell?" I'm like, "Dog, I'm
yeah.
sorry."
Hey, I tell you what, if somebody is listening to this and they're like, "Hey, my name wasn't on here," you come to us and you can come on our podcast and talk about it. How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. You
Yeah,
can talk about Jarrod
yeah.
Jaxx all you want. You just
Yeah.
come right on here. We'll give you a platform to talk about it.
Talk about it. Air your grievances.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
So many people though. Like I just had a good match with Vic Capri. Like I just wrestled Silas Young. So it's like a lot of people that I wrestle that I try to have good matches with everybody when I go out. That's my goal at least, is to have a good match with everybody I go. I mean, it doesn't always happen, but at least that's my goal though.
Right, right. Yeah, you said you want to be the one that like you come out of a match and people remember yours. Like, oh man, that Jarrod guy, he was either the worst heel or he was so great to watch, right? Either way you want
Yeah,
that like memory.
exactly, Mundo. Exactly, Mundo.
Yeah. So I guess like with that, like what like you said you've gotten to wrestle a lot of people that bigger names. You said, like Demolition, for example, right? Like that's kind of a huge name tag team that you had a chance to wrestle. And so, throughout your really long career and, through all these different names of people you've had amazing matches with, what would you say is like a match that like you look back on, and you say like, man, like this match, I'll remember this match forever.
It would be because going back to my mom not being thrilled, she never came and saw me wrestle until one time. She's watched me wrestle one time, and the first time she was able to see me wrestle, she was able to see me wrestle at the state fair, Greg the Hammer Valentine in the main event. So if I had to pick one match, that's something I always remember. Like the first time she ever saw me wrestle after all that time. At that time, I had been wrestling maybe that's 2012, so maybe 10 years at that point. So
Wow.
halfway through the career. So yeah,
Yeah. What was that like for you to have her there at ringside or in the crowd to watch you wrestle?
it was cool because she had a big old cheesy grin on her face. Like, so that was fun to see that.
Yeah, and on top of that, wrestling, Greg the Hammer, like that's a pretty, huge moment for you as well. Like, what was it like working with him?
It was pretty surreal because we didn't. It was just go out there and wrestle. Like it wasn't nothing to talk about. We just went. That's just how them old school dudes do. Like you got to be
Yeah.
able to catch up or keep up, and if you can't, they'll eat you up.
You'll
So,
pay for it. Yeah.
so I was able to keep up. So
That's a really cool thing. And it happened you said at the state fair, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so I would imagine that you had a pretty decent crowd then.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of people there. There was a lot of people.
Yeah.
Independent wrestling is a lot more is a lot more intimate. It is. It's a
Mhm.
lot more closer setting. You get a chance to get a rapport with the fans. A lot of them I've had fans that's been seeing me wrestle for years. I know fans that have known me for 20 years and more. I there's so many dedicated fans out there that they come to independent shows and they're like faithful. They've been coming for years. They've seen you develop from a young kid to a grizzled, almost old man. So it's a different kind of vibe, and I
Yeah.
dig it honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think everything being said is exactly it. Wrestling is, it's a beautiful thing, and when you get to be close to it and really get to interact with it, it's a whole different beast, for the fans, for the wrestlers. I think it's one of the coolest things. But so, we've talked a lot, we learned a lot about you. You've had a long career with so many stories and people you've had to wrestle, and really truly I think one of the coolest wrestlers in Milwaukee, and I'm glad we've had you on.
Oh
But
man, I appreciate you.
I'll tell you, not every fan is like us who sees a good wrestler, knows they're a good wrestler, and you know is on top of it. Some people, they like to hold back. They're like, you got to prove something to me, this or whatever. So for that fan that's listening to this show, and they're like, all right, I've heard this and that. He's wrestled some cool guys, but like, I still need to be sold. Why should I go see a Jarrod match?
Like I said, it's not just like you're watching, it's an experience. You're not just gonna be watching any old guy. You're gonna be watching an experience. I'm gonna pull you in. I'm gonna make you want to see me either triumph, or you're gonna want to see me get the hell kicked out of me. Either way, I'm gonna get you,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you either way. Either way, you're gonna want to see me triumph, or you're gonna want to see me fall. But either way, you in for a ride. You in for
Right.
a ride.
Right.
That's the way I can describe you in for a ride.
Well, Jared, I'm gonna go ahead and take the time, man, and thank you for coming on the show. We really do appreciate it.
Oh, no doubt, man. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Absolutely, brother. And I want to remind everybody to check out all of our episodes from Across the Ring on all social media platforms that stream podcasts, including YouTube. We're also on Instagram, Facebook. Jared, you have like Instagram, Facebook, and all that?
I have Facebook, I have TikTok, and that's it because I'm an old man.
So make sure to check out Jarrod Jaxx on Facebook. Do you know your TikTok name right off the bat?
JDub80.
JDub80. There it is. All right, guys, and that's going to go ahead and wrap up the show. I want to remind everybody, you never know who is across the ring.